Are you following all the advice on how to lose weight on carnivore, but it's still not working? I know that frustration because I lived it. I was 287 pounds at the start, eating cleanly and doing everything the experts told me to, but nothing worked. I wanted to give up, but I am glad that I didn't. I now have lost 125 pounds, not by trying harder, but by finally understanding what was really holding me back. If you feel stuck and like nothing is working, then this might be the tough love video that you need. Hi, if we're just meeting, my name's Claire, Carnivore Claire. On this channel, I talk about all things weight loss, chronic illness within the realm of the carnivore diet. If that sounds like your jam, do hit subscribe down below and leave me a comment saying, I want the juicy steak. So many of us have come to the carnivore diet having come off the back of years, lifetime even, of yo-yo dieting. We've tried every single diet out there. We've lost some weight, we've put some weight back on, we've lost some weight, we've put some weight back on. And when you come to the carnivore diet, with that, you bring your habits, you bring bad eating habits. There is nothing more attractive to an emotional eater than coming on board with a new way of eating that is telling you that you can eat as much as you want in abundance until you're completely full. That's what we've all been doing for years with really catastrophic results. And so when we're told you can actually carry on doing what you've been doing, but you are going to be able to lose weight and get healthy, who wouldn't want to sign up for that? I know there was certainly an element of that when I started. I had tried everything. I thought I'd try this, but I didn't think it would work. And then when I saw that I could eat in abundance, that's what made me want to stick to it. So what we're doing when we come on the carnivore diet is we're inadvertently bringing our bad, or I don't really want to say bad, just disordered eating habits, and we're adopting them within the carnivore diet. So the carnivore diet has a lot of foods that are very highly calorific, very high fat. And if we do eat in abundance, we are going to put on weight, not lose weight. A very small amount of people will lose weight by eating in abundance in that way because they have control over their eating patterns. They can recognize when they're full up, and they can stop at that point, and then they don't get hungry for many hours. But that doesn't apply to many people, especially if you're insulin resistant. You're going to struggle to recognize your hunger signals. You are going to want to just eat and eat and eat until you're completely bursting. And when you are at the point of bursting, you are way beyond satiety. You are way beyond satiety. There are many foods that can come under the umbrella of carnivore, which can give us a free pass to continue in those bad eating habits, such as bacon, for example, or dairy, so cheese, cream, milk. And so what many of us do is we come on board and we start eating, and we're eating and not worrying about calories, because we're told don't worry about calories, just eat until you're full. And then we're eating that. And especially if you're eating dairy, then you are going to balloon. In the beginning, I did this myself. I was eating in abundance and eating anything and everything I wanted, and the weight was not shifting. Once I got my head around the idea that you can't eat anything you want on the carnivore diet, that is when things started to shift. I recommend to you that when you start on the carnivore diet, firstly, you're going to taper your carbs down, but once you've done that, you want to go to meat only for at least for a few days and see how you are. You might find that your hunger signals become more apparent when you're only eating meat. And quite honestly, if you're eating meat but you want something else, that's not hunger. Because if it's true hunger, you will eat anything in order to satisfy that hunger. I have never in my whole life met a fat person who didn't eat too fast, myself included. We would always be wanting to stuff our face and get it down our throats as soon as possible. That's because we felt this hunger inside and we had to get rid of that hunger. We keep filling ourselves up because we're not getting full up. But if you're eating super fast, then you're not giving your body that time to feel satisfied. And so you are going to overeat. So I would take a guess that if you have a weight problem, if you are even on carnivore, you are eating and you are even maybe managing your eating, but you're still putting on weight, then you might just be eating too fast. Your satisfaction signals are not when you're feeling stuffed, as I said earlier. Your satisfaction signals are way before that, before you even stop feeling hungry. But there are many other problems to eating fast as well. Firstly, it's not socially acceptable, so you might be seen as a bit of a leper. Secondly, it is really, really bad for digestion. When you eat super fast, your body cannot digest that fast, and then you will come up with problems. Your digestion will be slowed down. You'll get a lot of bloating. You might even get some pain. And that is going to slow down your metabolism. It's going to slow down the rate at which you lose weight. You might not even be utilising that energy that you've just consumed in the most effective way. I have to hold my hands up here because I am so guilty of this. I eat OMAD, as we saw in a previous video, and I give myself a 1 hour eating window, and often I complete all my eating within 15 to 20 minutes. And if I slowed down a little bit more, I would feel less hungry and more satisfied. And in a way, it would trick my brain into thinking that I was eating more because I was eating for a longer period of time. I recently did find that I was eating fast and I was not getting full up, and so I was eating more. And then it was just a vicious cycle, and then the weight wasn't coming off. I was stalling. And so when I realised this and I pulled back and I started to eat more slowly, that's when the weight started to shift again. So when we come to the carnivore diet, we are told we have to eat high fat in order to become fat adapted. So in case you're wondering, fat adapted is just when you change from a glucose burning fuel system to a fat burning one, because you're no longer getting glucose. The body will make the glucose that it needs, and outside of that you will use fat for burning. And so we're advised, and I advise, to eat high fat diets, because that is what is going to put you in a position of success. But not all fats are the same, and not all of us respond to fat in the same way. There's this big movement within the carnivore community to eat butter and eat lots of it, but I myself cannot do that. I enjoy butter occasionally, but when I do, it really bloats me up and I tend to put on weight. So I will only allow myself to have it now and again, going back to my earlier point of being controlled around foods that are highly calorific. There's another fat that I can't manage, and that is beef dripping. I buy beef dripping from the supermarket. It's super cheap. It's like about £3 for a jar. It's like tallow, but not quite. We can't really get tallow in the supermarkets here. So I was using that for a while, and that caused a lot of digestion problems. It stopped me being able to digest fat, as I spoke about in my update video. And so I have to stay away from those, even though technically they are carnivore fats, they're animal fats, and I have to really modify the diet in order to make it work for me. That is because I get a lot of bloating, I get a lot of pain, I will put on weight, I'll get brain fog, I'll get all the things that I was having on the SAD diet by eating the wrong fats. Now, I am not saying by any stretch of the imagination that you shouldn't eat fat. You should, but you've got to choose the fats that are right for you. In the first instance, I recommend that you choose fatty cuts of meat, and this is what I do. My go-to is a ribeye steak. It's very expensive, but it is worth it if you can afford it, because it has got an abundance of natural fat within it. It is the fattiest cut that you can have from the cow. So, or there are other cuts that you can have that are quite naturally fatty, and I would go towards those. If you like lamb, lamb is very fatty, and you might be able to get the fat you need from those cuts. Also, ground beef, if you get 20% fat ground beef, that has an abundance of fat in it, and that might be all the fat you need. But if you do want to add fat, and maybe butter isn't working for you, then there are other things you can choose. You can choose tallow, you can use suet, you can use ghee, you can use goose fat, you can use duck fat. There are so many things out there, and I definitely haven't listed them all. It's really about trial and error and seeing how your own body responds to the individual fats that you try. If you are never ever hungry on the carnivore diet, you are likely over consuming food. I said what I said, and I'm not taking it back, I'm not sorry. You may well be over consuming. Hunger is a natural emotion. It's a natural response, a physiological response to our bodies needing food, telling us that it's time for hunger. In my experience, many people are either scared of being too full or scared of being too hungry. Which one do you fall in the camp of? I cannot handle being hungry. I hate the feeling. I'm trying to get more used to it as I am on the carnivore diet, and I'm doing OMAD, but initially it was a really difficult process for me. I found when I wasn't allowing myself to be hungry that I was just not losing weight. The weight was stalling, sometimes going up, in fact. I think it's really important for you to allow yourself to get hungry, and that's where OMAD comes in really handy. Because with OMAD, which is 1 meal a day, you are only eating in a 1 hour window, and then you'll go in 23 hours without any food. For a lot of those hours, you do not get hungry because you're still full up, your body is still digesting the food, then you're sleeping, and then you wake. If you're like me, you don't ever get hungry in the morning anyway. And then as the day goes on, the hunger starts to set in. And when I feel that hunger, which is usually around about 17, 18 hours, I feel that's when autophagy is kicking in and getting rid of all my dead cells. It's getting into fat burning mode. And that hunger for me is a signal that my body is burning fat. And so what I do is I try to put off eating for as long as I can while I'm having that feeling. And I've learned through trial and error, through experience, to just really enjoy that feeling of wanting food before it gets to the point where I need food, because wanting food and needing food are two very different things. If you can learn to sit with your hunger for a little bit longer, you are going to activate your fat burning mode, and your weight is going to come off so much more easily, even if you're not doing OMAD. But if you're interested in OMAD, check out this video, which I did, which was a deep dive into OMAD, essentially. If you are someone on the carnivore diet and you're always trying to hack the process, you are always trying to tweak your macros, maybe you're adding fat into your coffee, you are doing this and you're doing that, maybe you're having spices, maybe you're carnivore but you're having a few low carb vegetables in order to get the fibre, you are constantly trying to hack the process. All these things you are doing are standing in your way to weight loss on the carnivore diet. technically on paper at least you can have up to about 20 grams of carb a day and still be in ketosis. However, that's not set in stone. Everyone responds to ketosis differently, and also carbs cause inflammation. So even if you are still in ketosis, you might be inflamed, and inflammation can stop you from losing weight. So if you are using carnivore tweaks, so to speak, then this is usually driven by fear rather than confidence. You need to come into the carnivore diet with complete confidence that it's going to work, because it does work if you approach it in the right way. When I started, I went through a period of trying to hack the process. I was having avocados and bananas to begin with. Then I went clean carnivore, and I found the process so much easier to lose weight, because when I cut everything out, I wasn't getting the food noise, I wasn't getting hungry, and I was in ketosis. Now, I'm going to be brutally honest here. I did not lose 125 pounds by hacking the diet, by trying to get away with things here and there and everywhere. I accepted very early on that I needed to adopt this lifestyle and adopt it for the long haul in order to see the results that I want. So being carnivore does not automatically guarantee that you are in ketosis. I touched on this just now, but you can have around 20 grams of carbohydrates and still be in ketosis. It really ranges from person to person. Some people need to be under 5 or 10 grams, others can have up to 30 grams. It really depends on the person, and the only way you know for certain is by testing it. I believe you can get testing strips. If I can find some, I will leave a link down below, because I want to buy some for myself, because that might be quite interesting. I've never done that yet. But even if you are super low carb, that still does not guarantee that you are in ketosis. It guarantees that you're sticking to the carnivore diet, but there is a process with protein where it creates glucose. Gluconeogenesis, I can't say the word, glucogen, I'm going to put it on screen. That word that you're seeing now, that is the word, that is the process, that the body converts protein into glucose when there is no glucose available. And so the body's fantastic, really, isn't it? Because it is just telling us that I can make all the glucose I need. I don't need you to eat it. And that's why carbohydrates are not an essential nutrient. But occasionally it might make too much and knock us out of ketosis without us even knowing. When you are in ketosis, you have ketones, and ketones burn fat so much more efficiently than if your body doesn't have ketones. I have tested it where I eat all my calories in a 1 hour window, so OMAD, and I've also tested it so I eat the same amount of calories but spread over the day over 3 meals. The weight loss is so much more efficient when I eat it in a 1 hour window, and I give my body the break that it needs in order to produce those ketones. If you are enjoying this video and you're getting value from it, do hit the subscribe button, leave me a comment down below. Those things really help me. If you'd like to support the channel a little bit further, I do have a coffee account. All the links will be down below. So when we get heavy, we don't only carry weight, we also carry the shame. In our society, it is deemed to be not very good if you are overweight or obese. There is a lot of shaming by other people and a lot of self-shaming, a lot of self-sabotage going on with inside. And when we've come to the carnivore diet in order to lose weight, we've done it because we want to find a way to lose weight without shaming ourselves. When we're on the SAD diet, we're told the reason you're fat is because you don't have willpower, you don't have motivation, you don't care about yourself, you have no self-worth, you have no self-esteem. We're drilled all these things into our head as to the reason why we're fat. All of those things might not necessarily be true, but they are designed to shame us into losing weight. So we begin feeling bad about ourselves and we carry all this shame inside of us. Ask me how I know. It's really hard for me when I do the hook at the beginning to see myself in that way, because I still feel that shame from that time. And also even like on my other channel where I was fat for most of filming the channel for the 6 years. And I get this urge to just take those videos down, but they're helping people, so I leave them up. But I still carry that deep shame within me. And when you bring the shame with you, you bring the mentality with you. So you come and you approach the carnivore diet as just another diet, but actually it really is a lifestyle change. I never really understood this whole diet versus lifestyle, but once I came on the carnivore diet, I got it. Not at first, but eventually I got it, and that is what changed the needle for me. If you eat a carnivore way and lose your weight, the second you go back to eating a SAD diet, you will put that weight back on. So you have to, from the outset, accept that this is a lifestyle change. If you want to get healthy and get fit and lose weight, you need to adopt it as a lifestyle change. This is going to be the way you eat and the way you live your life for the rest of your days. So over the years, because you've had all of this shame inside of you, you have had this rebellion within you, shall we say. You try to toe the line, you do what other people were telling you you need to do in order to be healthy. Who doesn't want to be healthy? We all want to be healthy no matter what weight we are. And so there is a part of us that really wants to do this, wants to achieve this, and we try it. And because of various reasons, it could be emotional reasons, but it can also be hormonal reasons, which is a big part of why people are fat. They are insulin resistant, they are metabolically unwell, and their hormones are all over the place. The insulin is up and down like a yo-yo. It's next to impossible to lose weight when you're in that kind of environment within your body. So what happens in that situation is you are yo-yoing, you are being really good, like perfectly good in some cases, for maybe up to a week or two, and then your body can't cope and you end up craving whatever and eating whatever, and it's a yo-yo. Up and down, up and down. You can still do that on the carnivore diet. If you are being really, really good, you might still get that urge to eat other foods. It won't be as pronounced as it is on the SAD diet, but it can still happen, particularly if you haven't let go of bad habits, if you haven't let go of your emotional baggage or the shame that we have been speaking about. For me, this has happened. I've openly spoken about the fact that I've fallen off the wagon a few times on the carnivore diet, and it never leads to success. It holds me back. I probably would have lost even more weight by now if I didn't do that. But once I changed my mindset and accepted that I have to only eat carnivore food and not come off the wagon, fall off the wagon, or eat a little bit of this, a little bit of that, when I accepted that carnivore is my way of life forevermore now, a lifestyle, not a diet, that is when I was able to become consistent. And consistency is at the bottom of every single success in life. No matter what that success is, you will not achieve success without consistency. And when you accept that the carnivore diet is the only way that you can live your life and not only eat, but the decisions you make around eating, so socially, through work, through financial means, whatever, you adopt that lifestyle, you become consistent, and you get the results that you want. I'm speaking from my heart here because I know it, I've lived it. Comparing ourselves to others is something that we all naturally do, especially if you're a woman. We are raised in a way where it becomes very natural for us to compare ourselves to others. And we often compare our self-worth in relation to other people. I know when I used to run a sewing channel and I would see other sewists making these gorgeous garments and they looked amazing in their slim figures, and I would compare myself to them, especially on Instagram. You would see it where the photos were very curated and beautiful. I would see those photos and I would think that I did not measure up. I was in my own lane. I was doing something completely different to them and trying to get different results. But I was judging myself on the results they were getting, even though I didn't need their results. So I think this can really apply within the carnivore diet, especially when you watch influencers like me who have lost a lot of weight very fast, and you've maybe been on the carnivore diet for the same amount of time or maybe a little bit less, and you haven't lost what I have lost. It would be very, very easy for you to then compare yourself to me. It would affect your self-esteem. It would make you feel like you're doing something wrong. You're not doing anything wrong. You're just doing things in a different way to I am. And that's why I make these videos, is to give you my insights so that you can see the same success that I've had. But when you come down to it, comparing yourself to me or any of the other influencers that you see online, or even people in your own life, comparing isn't of any use to anyone. It's useless. You've got to stop it because it's not helping you at all. In fact, it is holding you back from getting the results that you want. I was in the exact same position when I started this and I went on the carnivore diet. I was watching all the same influencers that you are watching. At the end of the day, I had to get myself to a mindset that said, I'm doing this in my own way. I've got things going on that other people have not got going on. So I feel that to compare myself in that situation would be extremely hard on myself. And I would say if you have got a lot going on, even if you haven't got a lot going on, but you are comparing yourself to others, you're being really, really hard on yourself. You are unique. You are you. You are going to go on this journey and be successful in your own way. And who knows, you might end up on YouTube telling your story as well. When you sit and compare yourself to others, you're going to create internal panic. And when you create internal panic, you create sabotage. And when you create sabotage, you will come and stand in the way of your results. Continue to watch these videos if you get value from them and you get insights that are going to help move you forward. But put aside those feelings of they've got something that I haven't got, because that's not important. You will get that at some point. You've got to have faith. Don't have fear, have faith. You are going to achieve what you want to achieve by gathering the knowledge. Knowledge is power, and then turning that knowledge and power into action. So if you've come to this way of eating as someone who is insulin resistant or metabolically unwell, then you likely have sleep problems as well. One of the benefits that many of us influencers talk about is that sleep gets better on the carnivore diet. And that may have been a lure for you. It may have been something that made you want to do this. I know it did for me. And carnivore might actually improve your onset of sleep, but not necessarily the quality or the duration of that sleep. I know for many, many months, up to about 6 months on this diet, I was actually falling to sleep really easily, but waking up at 3 a.m. That's a thing on the Carnivore. You can search in the YouTube search for videos on that. Some people do wake up at 3 a.m. and can't get back to sleep, and I had that for many, many months. The problem is that when you're on the Carnivore diet and you have poor quality sleep, you are not going to be responding to the Carnivore diet physiologically in the way that is most useful for weight loss. Poor sleep can raise your cortisol levels, which is not good. It can increase leptin. It can also cause insulin resistance. So if you are not sleeping, that is something that you really need to put a lot of effort into fixing or turning around if you can, so that you can be successful. Because when those processes are happening in the body, it is stalling your weight loss. It is going to make your body hold on to fat rather than release it. If you're not sleeping well, you are going to be awake for more hours, so that is more hours to eat, a bigger eating window. Your resolve, your resilience, your motivation is going to be much lower, or more easily knocked off your pedestal of being good if you are sleep deprived. Getting the sleep is going to be so beneficial. That's probably the biggest tip that I can give you. We are renewing ourselves. We are energizing ourselves. We're going to have more energy to run our days. We're going to be happier. It improves mental health. It does all sorts of things. So that should be your main priority. Everything I've shared in today's video is not just weight loss blocks, it's life blocks. They show up in your sleep, in your mindset, in your nervous system, and in the food that you eat. When I let go of control, comparison, and comfort foods, that's when the scales started to shift. If you want the exact steps that I took to restart my weight loss, watch this video next. If Carnivore is not shifting your weight, do this.